y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is so overdue. I've filmed this video multiple times throughout about 3 years, I think, and just now am I realizing like I have to film this and I have to post this on the internet somewhere. So anyways, you can tell by the title, today's video is going to be about why you should not date in your therapy group. Now, I have some very strong opinions about this. So yeah, let's just get into it. So I'm going to be speaking from personal experience. Most of the events that occurred were when I was in an intensive outpatient program, an IOP, when I was like 16 years old. So yeah, I'm guilty of this. Not once, not twice, but I am a 3-time offender of this. I have dated guys in my therapy group 3 times. Have I learned anything? Yes, absolutely. Now I have, but like teenage me was like, oh, it's fine. This one's gonna be different. No, it's fine. This one's gonna be different. It's not gonna be different, okay? Like, I don't care if you're like 15, 16 watching this, or if you're 78 watching this, like, do not date a boy in your therapy group at least until after you're done with the therapy. That is like that's my thing, okay? So like, and again, I wouldn't really encourage that if you just have a really strong bond and like that happens, then it does. But while you're in therapy, don't do it. Don't do it. Now, this is something I'm very passionate about, if you can't tell. So I'm gonna just give like a little bit of backstory. So like I said, I was in 2 IOPs. One of them I was in for about a month and a half, and the second one I was in for about 3 months. And the first one, I met this guy, and this IOP was like just getting off the ground kind of, and they were just starting their like teen program, so they didn't really know what they were doing. I've also had other issues with these therapists, but this video is not to talk about that. Anyways, they were like, yeah, you guys should be hanging out and you guys should be dating. And so 16-year-old me was like, oh, okay, like the therapists are telling me that like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I made this like really close friend. We started hanging out and stuff. I got this like huge crush on him. He did not have a huge crush on me back, let's just say that. But it was a little misleading, and like I had my first kiss with him, and then I got sent away, and I was like, please write me, and then he didn't write me, and then I got sad. And like years later, we literally talked about this so many times, and he's apologized to me so many times for not writing me. So like not trying to call this person out like whatsoever. Just the point is like it really stung, and there was a love triangle, and I was 16 years old in a therapy group in a therapy love triangle as I was getting sent away, and this other guy liked the same guy I liked, and so therefore that guy hated me, and that just made the whole group dynamic really awkward. Not to mention that we all had the same therapist, so we were all talking about each other to the same guy, and they saw no problem with this. Like, they encouraged this. They were like, yeah, just like date, like hang out, just don't have sex. And everyone was like, okay, like what? This is a little weird. Long story short, I could not go back to that IOP after I got sent away, so I went to a different one. And there was this one day, I remember it so vividly, March 18th, 2019, is when I met 3 people that kind of ruined parts of my life. Wait, what did he say? Literally, as I'm filming this, like the first guy I'm talking about, I'm like texting with, because we're still friends and like we're good now, and I will explain that at the end. But like, that's so rare to happen. Anyways, on March 18th, 2019, I met 3 people, all who played very important instrumental roles in my life that I am confused about still to this day a little bit. So there was a new guy, 2 new guys actually, and 1 new girl. And just according to HIPAA and stuff, like I'm gonna be super vague, not use any names or anything like that. So the girl, right off the bat, I got really bad vibes. I have a really good intuition, and I literally went home and journaled that night, and I was like, I have a really bad feeling about this. Like group is gonna be really uncomfortable after this person gets here. And lo and behold, I was right. and that's a whole long story too. But anyways, so that guy and that girl start dating, and in this group, it's like super against their policy to have kids date or hang out outside of group, which I 100% agree with. And we all had like a group chat actually outside of group, and we followed each other and stuff, and like, but it was only this guy and this girl that were dating and that would like see each other like outside of group. And I remember this one day like so vividly. This girl was like sitting on the curb, and I had to like get there early, and I was getting my nails done, and I like walked over, and I didn't want to just go inside and leave her there, so I sat with her. This was that new girl. And then the new guy pulls up because he's seeing her, and he just sits down next to her on the other side, and they're being all like relationshipy, and I'm like third wheeling the hell out of them, and it's really, really freaking awkward because it's not supposed to be happening in the first place. So I was just like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and then I just like went inside and like just didn't come back outside because it was awkward. The therapist could see it outside their window, and they still did nothing about it. So what the therapist did do about it kind of was have me give my little testimony about my bad experience at the old group when I did start to like this guy. So I literally told everyone in the group, like knowing very well that these two people were dating. This other guy had a crush on me, and I had no feelings for him whatsoever. And then I knew of another couple in that group. There were more couples in the group than not, and they were all just trying to hide it from the therapist. But anytime a new kid arrived, they'd have me tell my story about how it didn't work out for me and how it just made things worse and blah 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 blah. And so I'd repeat this story over and over every time a new kid would come. And this one guy that really liked me like kept pressuring me to like go on a date, and I was like, no, I don't want to, like we're just friends, if even that, like no, I don't want to, like are you listening to me talk about my experience at all, like hello. And then finally, like he was just so damn pushy that I was like, fine, but it has to be after group. And I'm so glad that I decided that. First of all, this whole thing with this therapy guy was a mistake, but it could have been so much worse if it had happened while I was in group with him. Anyways, flash forward like a month, and I go on this pity date with this guy, and it's really, really an interesting relationship you have with the people in your therapy group, especially like guys that like you, or guys that you like, because they know all of your trauma. You have this like trauma bond almost before you even find out like, hey, what's your favorite movie? What's your favorite color? And so it's like this backwards getting to know you thing, and it makes the dynamic just really uncomfortable and really weird. And this circumstance, this guy, the second guy, was just very troubled and very pushy and very not okay with my boundaries. And long story short, I ended that within about 3 months. And I'm embarrassed to say that I even let it go on that long, but I did. But I ended it, okay? So that's guy number 2. Then my junior year, I was touring this new school because I was planning on transferring. And who did I run into but other therapy guy number 3. And I was like, oh my God, hey. And he was like, oh my God, hi. And I was like, do you go to school here? Are you shadowing here? I'm shadowing. Like, I might come to school here. And he was like, yeah, I just started going here like a week ago. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And we like, sat down, and I was like, okay, so how's the girlfriend doing? Like the one from group. And he's like, oh, she's good. Like, do you want to like Snapchat her and say hi? And I was like, oh my God, yeah, sure. And so I was like, hey girl, like, how are you doing? And she's like, oh my God, hey. And okay, so I ended up transferring to this school, and I was struggling a lot at this point. So I knew this guy from group, and he had some friends that were also really nice to me, and they invited me to go roller skating. And that was like the first time I ever hung out with like this new friend group. And I remember this like so well because I was there, and I just knew it. I knew these therapy relationships were not going to work. The ones that start while you're in therapy do not work, because they were roller skating, and me and guy number 3 were sitting down, and I was like, so how are things going with that girl? Because I could tell that it was going downhill. And he said, you know, it's going downhill. And I was like, I'm really sorry to hear that. Like, that sucks. Anyways, that night, I remember one of my friends posted a picture of me and her on her Snapchat, and the other girl, the girl who's dating, like swiped up and was like, oh my god, we should like all of us sleep over. And we were like, oh my god, yeah. And just wait till the end of the story for why that sounds so insane. So therapy guy number 3 and I get very close, and he's been trying to break up with the girl from therapy for months, and she's not letting him really. And I'm not going to go into too much detail here just because it's not my entire story to tell, like parts of it I was involved in, but it took a long time for him to get out of that relationship, and once he did, she went kind of crazy. I got some DMs from anonymous accounts telling me to rot in hell. I got a lot of hateful messages. Anyways, we got really close, and me and therapy guy number 3 started dating. Now, the difference with this one is that we did not start dating while we were in group. But again, the difference with this one is that we had both dated another person from that same group, and we both knew about those relationships. And that made it really, really hard, I think. I think that was something that was really always hard for us to move past in our relationship. We dated for about 2 years. He was my first and only kind of long-term boyfriend. And that relationship, for the most part, was really good. However, that girl did wreak some havoc, honestly. And it led to some court things, and that was really unfortunate, and that was not his fault at all. It was her fault. But I'm just trying to explain that like things get really complicated really quickly when you implicate yourself in a relationship with someone that you've met in your therapy group. Because like I said, it's really hard to have that trauma bond and then like try to undo it, try to learn about each other more, but like you already know all the intense stuff. So it's like, it's odd. And me and therapy guy number 3, I always say like that was just a fluke. Like I just got really lucky with that because, and I think again what makes it different is we started dating significantly after the time that we were in group. We were both 17 when we started dating, and we were 16 when we were in group, so it had been a minute. But even that relationship ended, and I don't want to say it's because we met in group or anything like that. I would say that our relationship progressed a lot faster than a typical like high school teenager relationship would, just because of the amount of information we knew about each other. And that kind of made our 2-year relationship feel like a 6-year relationship. And we also like quarantined together over COVID, so like we were practically living with each other. And we were still dealing with the fallout from that therapy group. All of this to say, I'm not trying to hate on any of y'all, but like, if you're considering dating someone from your therapy group, please, just for me, just think twice about it, or think at least about putting it off until maybe 6 months after you're done with the group. Because I know when you feel really alone and upset and you're in the group in the first place, like, you know, you find someone else who understands you, and of course you'd want to like hang out with them and be with them. Like, you have no friends, and like that's the whole problem. And then you have this friend, like, just try to fight against it if you can. And yeah, me and the first guy that I met, we're now really good friends, actually. We have like made up. Guy number 2, nope, never speaking to him again. Nope, gross, makes me want to gag, literally. Okay, no. And guy number 3, we were good friends for a while, but then he just ghosted me after knowing me for like 4 years. So if you're watching this, hey. So those are the 3 outcomes of my 3 like relationships. Like the first one, I don't know that I even call that a relationship, but like it's complicated. As y'all can tell, this whole story is complicated. It's confusing. I understand that. And I just want to say, like, a few years ago, if you're a teenager watching this, like a few years ago, like I was in your shoes. I know exactly what you're thinking. And it's like, oh, well, not me. No, you. It is you. Like, please, God, listen to the rules. They're there for a reason. I promise you they're there for a reason, and you will thank me and thank those rules in the long run. So I hope if anyone else has dated in their therapy group that they've had a way better experience than me, I would love to hear that. But I just wanted to, you know, tell a little cautionary tale just for anyone out there who is considering dating someone in their group. Just think twice about it. So yeah, thanks for watching.